everybody. It is 4 o'clock, and we are going to get started with our webinar. It's called Do You Know Tips and Tricks for NCEES? And I did put the link to today's slides in the chat. And let's go to the next slide so we can do a little housekeeping. If you would like to answer our questions or put in some answers to questions, you can open your chat from the drop down. If you're on a computer, it usually pops up to the top of your screen, and you can hover your mouse up there. It will drop down. You can open your chat. You should also open your participants panel if you have room or have a second monitor that you can put those on. The participant panel has some icons in the bottom of it where you can raise your hand or click a green check mark for yes or a red X for no. So we can practice that right now. If you'll open your participants panel, if you can hear us, if you'll raise your hand or click the green check or put yes in the chat. Okay, I see some answers and I see some hands and green checks. Great. All right, and let's put those down. See if I can clear those. And if you can see our screen, it says Welcome to WebEx Training. Let's do the same. Raise your hand or click the green check or answer in the panel. All right, looks like we're getting a lot of yeses and green checks and hands. Awesome. All right, we're going to move on. I'm going to clear the feedback from the participants panel. When you're in the chat that says send to, you can select all participants. That way everybody can see your question. If you only want it to go to Kim or I, you must select us from that little drop down. If you don't see the chat, there's also a Q&A that you can open up. Those questions only go to Kim and I. We would like most of the questions to please be in the chat, but we will monitor both. We do have a follow-up email scheduled for 24 to 48 hours after the end of the webinar. This will include a way to get your certificate of completion, and the way to do that is to complete the NCEES feedback survey to receive that certificate. You'll fill out the survey and then select today's session, and then once you submit all of that, it will send you an email with your certificate for today. It will also include a link to today's recording. We are recording now, and any links to resources we discussed during the webinar and any answers to any remaining questions from the webinar or asked after the webinar. So do you know what you don't know? So in this session, we will be looking at tips that may help improve the timely processing of your staff plans in NCEES on the My Staff page, the staff evaluation page, and a quick look at a professional development help as well. So I am Cammie Nairn, and I have taken a little creative license with our slides today, so I hope you guys join in and have fun. We're going to do a little bit of Halloween since it is October and fall. I love the fall time of the year. I do work for DPI as your NCEES Education Product Consultant, and there's my email link there as well. Robert Sachs is our NCEES business owner. He will probably not be joining us today. Just wanted you to know who he is, but Kim Simmons is joining us today, and I'll let her say hi.
Hello, everyone. I am the NCEES coordinator. I work more on the policy and process and professional development side of the NCEES system, and I'm always happy to work with Cammie, and she's very creative, and I appreciate you adding a little fall festivity to our presentation today. Thanks, Cammie.
Yeah, today's presentation is a little different today, so we're going to take a little creative license today. And I see Debbie can't hear. Kim, you can ask her maybe to log out and log back in if she didn't try her audio settings at the top. You can do either one.
Yeah, and when you log out and come back in, when you test, Debbie, make sure you test both.
Yeah, you'll have to type it to her because she can't hear.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the whole, yeah. All right.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're going to have a couple little quotes in here. It said, I want to let you know, I like this little quote. I'll wait for Kim. Do you mind muting, please? Thank you. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant. Those of you that are educators, we are planting seeds all the time in those young minds and among each other. We're participating and helping each other. I've watched all the teachers just rallying. My little kindergartner granddaughter, she got to go to school for real Thursday and Friday and today, and now she is loving school. She wasn't quite so thrilled with the online version, but she is loving school, so I'm just praying everything goes well, and thank you for all that you guys are doing. All right, our first tip for today, and we are going to stay in the slides pretty much, but do please follow along in your own NCEES site if you'd like. So we're going to look at pinning a list of staff. Are you working with a group of staff plans? Well, you can pin that group in NCEES, do all the work you need to with them, and then pin another group if you'd like. So we can only pin one group at a time, but let's look at how to do that. So you're going to navigate to staff evaluations. I'm going to stop right here and do a little disclaimer. Today's session is going to mostly be for administrators, the NCEES district administrators and the site administrators. Teachers, you're welcome to watch. You get the credit for the session today, and maybe you might be thinking about training for an administrator position later. So this is good information. Oh, trick-or-treat time. So in the chat, can you answer this question? Why couldn't the vampires play baseball? Does anybody know? I'll give you just 5 seconds. We won't take long on these. No guesses. Let's find out. They lost their bats. And usually when I'm doing face-to-face session, I like to bring candy, but today you get some virtual candy, and it didn't do it. Oh, no. Maybe the next one will. That was a trick, right? No treat on that one. So staff evaluations pins. We navigated to staff evaluations, and in your evaluation participation channel, we call these channels, you can click the pins that are above the owner name. And you can see I have it highlighted in red here. If you hover over the pin, it says pin to my list. So let's try that. Oh, and when you pin it, the pin slants sideways and it turns black. And then we need to then see our pinned list. Maybe you have beginning teachers you're working with, or maybe it's your week to work with those residency teachers, and you want them in a group, so you don't have to scroll through this list every time to try to find them to work with their plans. So you can pin whatever type of group you want to pin. Remember, you can only pin one group to work with at a time. So once you put the pins in, you can click Show My List up here. And see where it has the green pin, it click Show My List. Well, once you click Show My List, the pin turns blue. And now you only have staff that have their names pinned. So now you can do any kind of work in these plans, and you don't go back to the original list until you go back and click Show All by the blue pin. So now what can we do with this group of staff? Now I've kept the list short here today to keep it on our screen, but you may have a large list, a small list. Let's see what you can do with that list. Well, we can send emails and messages. Do you want to send a quick email to staff? You can do that from NCEES. So let's navigate to staff evaluations again. Oh, another trick or treat. How do spiders communicate? Through the World Wide Web. Yep, use the web. Good answers, guys. Thank you for joining in. Great job. All right, you get a treat. You get a whatchamacallit today. All right, so now here we are looking at our pinned list. How are we going to email and message these people? Well, we're going to look at these little boxes. I don't know if you ever noticed these little boxes by the numbers 1 and 2 here. If you check those, you can message the people, or you can leave it unchecked. And if my little thing will go away down there. There we go. Let's try that. We'll put captions on there. That'll help with our hard of hearing folks as well. So you can click the Message All button. You don't need to check any boxes. But if you only want to message a certain person, see if that'll go away, then the message box turns blue. So let's see, how can we email these people? We're going to either message all or message the person we checked. So on the left, we have your message all. If you were to click that, then it would, in the recipients, it lists all the staff on the page. And see, it says targeted to 2 users. On the right, where it says message, I had only checked 1 box. So it's only going to list the 1 person there. But if you had checked more than 1 box, it will list out each recipient. Now you're going to need to fill in the subject. On the left, I said, here's a message about training and orientation. And on the right, we did a message about your pre-observation conference. Well, you can CC this message to yourself. And you can send a copy to others via email by adding them. However, they must be in NCEES, and they must have a correct email in NCEES. You do too. If your email is not correct in NCEES, remember that it comes from the source system PowerSchool, or if you're not in PowerSchool, it comes from your staff, your district's HR data that's uploaded to staff to DPI. So it's either going to come from PowerSchool or from HR. So once you click add, you can only add people that are also in NCEES. There's no way in this email section that you can add people outside of NCEES to get an email.
Cammie?
Yes.
We have a question. If I have my list selected, will it message all, but only the people in my list?
Okay, good question. So it depends on which button you selected. If you selected message all, yes, it will message everybody, even if you checked 1 or 2 boxes. So you want to be sure, if you've checked a box, to click the button that just says message. Then, if you look in the recipients area, it will list out everybody that you checked. So you can verify that way. Good question. Hope that helps. All right, and then PowerSchool changed this. Used to you could put who this email was coming from, but they were having a lot of issues with slowness of the emails going out, and so they changed the from to come from one of those noreply@powerschool.com emails. So you can't change that. Your recipients are going to see that this is from noreply@powerschool.com. So make sure you put a good message in your subject so they'll know to open it. All right, and then you get to decide, am I emailing my recipients, or am I sending them an announcement? So what's the difference? An email is going to go to their email that's in NCEES, it's in PowerSchool or HR. An announcement goes in the NCEES system. If you've ever looked at the top of your email, of your NCEES browser window, there is a little envelope icon up there. And that is where the announcements go. It goes to that envelope icon. It will put a red circle and it will put a number in there of how many announcements you've had sent to you and that you should please read. Now, this summer I also put that announcements box on the My Evaluation page. So everybody will see an announcement now because it's also on their My Evaluation page and they can't miss it. So decide if you want to send email or announcement, or check both boxes to send it both ways. If you check announcement, it's going to ask you for an end date for that announcement. You can leave that blank, that's fine. Or maybe you just want the announcement to go away by a certain date, so put your end date in. And then go down to the bottom and type your message, and then it's very simply click send. Now we had this question, or I had a question from a district. They were using this, they love this here, but when they got the CC copy, it did not tell them who else the email went to. So whoever you checked, or if you sent it to everybody, the CC you get does not tell you who you sent it to. And there's no report in here for you to go run to tell you who you sent emails to. So if you want a record of who you sent emails to, then find the help guide for targeted announcements, and this is for administrators only, site and district. You can send targeted announcements, and then you can go back in the system and see who you sent your emails to. Okay, any questions about sending emails and messages? All right, so we're going to still find other ways to send emails. So your evaluators, as you're working in an observation, I don't know if anybody's ever noticed the little email icon beside the main activity. So your main activities are like your formal observation 1, formal observation 2, observation 3, depending on what type of plan you have, whether it's formal or not. But it will have that email icon or that announcement envelope there. These are actually for emails. And you can email somebody even if the activity is not open. So here, notice I have that I with the circle around it. That means the activity isn't open for me to work in. But maybe I want to maybe I'm an evaluator and I want to let somebody know, hey, I'll be working on your formal observation. I need some information. I can click on that envelope. It opens the email members. And now I can email anybody that's working on this plan. Maybe I want to email the peer or the mentor or the teacher and any other evaluators or observers that are listed here. You just need to check their boxes. The subject, you can change. What it has is a macro for the plan owner's first name and last name, and then what it thinks you're talking about. So you can change any of that. For here, it thinks we're talking about that I've edited the observation details. So you can change any of that, put whatever message you want in, whatever subject you want in, or leave it as is. And then click Send Email. All right, it's also in your professional development plans. So if you go open the professional development plan and go to one of the review channels, so here we're looking at the PDP initial review. It's going to be on the main activity again. You're actually going to see a printer icon and the email icon. Same little window pops up that we just talked about. Once you've got all your information entered, click Send Email. Okay, any questions about those quick little ways to email people working in the plans? All right, so what if I'm working with similar plan activities? I'm working in the same plan types. Maybe I'm working with my comprehensive plans today, the same activity, but a bunch of different staff. Well, there's a shortcut. So let's see how to do that. We're going to navigate back to staff evaluations. Oh, trick or treat time. What monster plays tricks on Halloween? You can't say all of them. Okay, let's find the answer. It's Frankenstein. Okay, that made me chuckle. Oh, and it's a prank. This is one of those healthy trick-or-treaters. They gave us an apple. All right. Oh, I'll fix this slide. This should actually say not emails and messages at the top of it. We're actually going to go learn the group icon and how to work in similar activities. So I'm sorry about not changing the title up there. But we're going to navigate to staff evaluations. We're going to the open a plan. So we're going to the evaluation participation channel. We're going to open, say I'm working on a comprehensive plan. So I need to pick my first person I want to work with, open up their comprehensive plan. And then once I'm in and I've done the activities that I need to do in that comprehensive plan, if I'm a principal administrator, then I don't have to click back out, go back to staff evaluations, pick another person, go back in, find the activity. I can stay right where I'm at. I can look to the left. So here I have this evaluation open for Ms. Timmons. I see a little person, looks like it has bubbles coming out of its head, but what it is, 2 other people. So it's a little group of people. So I click on my little group of people, And now I have everybody that's on a comprehensive plan that I have access to. So here I have access to 14 people that are on comprehensive plans. So I can just click to the next one I need to work with. If I have a large list, I can do a search up here for the next person I know I want to work with without going out and coming back in. Same thing for you district administrators. On the right here, if you're working in your principal plans and you're trying to set the superintendents up to be evaluators of the principals, so you open a principal plan, you click on that Access Rights tab, and you set the evaluator of the first principal. Well, then you can click that group icon and just go to the next principal and set the evaluator of that principal. And just keep going right through that. All right? All right, any questions about how to do that? That little group icon is very handy if you're working with a group that day. All right, number 4, print only what you need. So let's look at the evaluation completion report. Do you really need everything that's on an evaluation completion report? Let's find out how to print only what you need. So we're going to navigate back to staff evaluations. Oh, here's a little words of wisdom. The best teachers are those who show you where to look, but don't tell you what to see. Just wake up those imaginations and let them learn, learn, learn. Print only what you need. So this page is a little busy. We're going to start on the left. So we've navigated to staff evaluations, and we looked on the far right. And you're going to see download CSV, and you're going to see a little graph icon. And if you hover over the graph icon, you'll see the words reporting menu. Well, once you click on it, you will get a reporting menu. The heat maps, those are really not any good to run unless you're doing summary information at the end of the year. And then they're not so good. They don't report on what the principal or evaluator set in the summary evaluation. They report what it thinks the summary evaluation should be set to, those ratings. So the main report that you should run, and many districts love this report, is the evaluation completion report. So again, that's found under staff evaluations. Go to the graph icon, click it, and select evaluation completion. You're going to come up with a window that looks like the screenshot here, and I had to cut it down because it's going to list every activity in the plan that you select. So I selected in the plan right here. Let me see if I can turn on my pointer. There we go. So I selected in the plan as abbreviated. I let it spin, and then it loads up all the activities in the abbreviated plan. And every single activity is checked. Well, I only want to know if everybody's done with observation 1. Has it been completed and locked? So I don't need all these check marks. Well, they hit a button way down at the bottom of the list. So scroll all the way down, and there's a button called Deselect All. Click Deselect All, and then you can come back and check whatever you need. So here, I just wanted to know, was everybody done with training and orientation and everything to do with observation 1? So I've checked those. Once I've checked those, I go back down to the bottom of my list, and I click Refresh. Now, also know while you're running this report, it is populating data for you. If you were to scroll all the way down past this list, you're going to see the data that you see on the right-hand side here. So over here, where you see the gray bar, is going to show you the percentages of orange is not started, blue is in progress, green is complete. So this top gray bar will not be opened up. You'll just see the orange and the blue, and you won't see any green until everything is completed. But you can click the plus signs, excuse me, beside each activity. So here's training and orientation at the top, If I click the plus sign, I can see that I have a little bit of people not started, a little bit of people in progress, and most of my people have completed training and orientation. And it does give you, excuse me just a minute, sorry about that, percentages to go along with the graphs. You can export this as a PDF. I don't show it on this screen here, but if you look up above the list here, there'll be a little tiny Adobe PDF icon that you can click on to print all of these pages out. If you're a large district, it could be 10 or more pages. All right, and then also if you scroll down past where you open up the plus signs, you have an individualized list as well. So it's going to list every school, all the staff in all the schools, and where they're at with their plans. So this, you can click, there's a little tiny spreadsheet icon, and that is so you can download a CSV file to then open in Excel and sort. Now, it doesn't bring over the pretty colors. Some folks I've talked to have had success by highlighting all of this and copying it and then pasting it into Excel to bring over the colors. But if you're also good with Excel, just download it and then format it to color the completes and the incompletes and the not started. All right. Any questions about how to print only what you need in the evaluation completion report on the staff evaluations page? Okay. All right, so now let's look again at this staff evaluations page. There's more that you can do. So there's these handy filters over here on the right. So if you filter your page, maybe I only want to get a report of everybody that has not started the self-assessment in their professional development plan. So I went to number 1, I added a filter, I chose plan, and then I said I want the plan to be equal to professional development plan 2020-21. And then I also wanted to know about the self-assessment. So over here on the left, I'll show you everything that you can select in the filters here. So self-assessment is one of those. And then I chose equal to, not started. Maybe you want to see everybody that has completed. I wanted to see who has not started yet. And then I wanted to download that as a report. So now I have my people that have not started. I can use download CSV, and it's up here at the top right. And you just click that. Note that download CSV, if you're a very large district, has a max of 5,000 plans. So you definitely want to use your filters if you have more than 5,000 staff in the list. So, but it will only download what you have on this page once you've filtered. So if I only have 4 results here, only 4 results are going to download in the CSV. It's a good way to narrow what your list is going to look like so you don't have to do so much sorting once you get it into Excel. Okay, any questions about that? Oh, I forgot to tell you, once you add these filters, we talked about it earlier, always update your table and then go download your CSV. All right, we're clipping right along. So let's look at unlocking and reopening. This is mainly for you district administrators, but you may have also assigned other folks with reopen rights. So, and we need to, I get a lot of questions right now. I've reopened this activity and nobody can do anything in it. Well, it takes 2, and we're going to look at 2 what in just a minute. So DAs, you're going to navigate to staff evaluations, and not just DAs. If you have reopen rights, then you can get to do this as well. Can you run reports by individual schools? And that's in evaluation completion. I think, Debbie, that report only runs all schools, and then you do have to download it and sort it. You can sort on the page before you download it and click on the schools, and it will sort by school. But I don't think you can turn them on and off. If anybody's on here and you've been able to do that, just unmute and let us know or type it in the chat. But I'm pretty sure that you have to download everything. But you can sort it before you download it. Okay. All right, let's take a look at Unlock and Reopen. You're welcome, Debbie. Oh, trick-or-treat time. Why did the witch keep turning into Minnie Mouse? She kept having Disney spells. Oh, that's bad. All right. Oh, but we do get some Reese cups. That's really good. All right, so we've navigated back to staff evaluations, and we're looking at the evaluation participation channel, and we want to click on the owner name. But I want to show you before we do that what it looks like on this page if you've reopened an activity. This right here where I'm circling, this is now an orange circle with a little curved arrow in it. That means this activity has been reopened. It means it used to have a green check and possibly a green check and a lock, but now it has been reopened. So you're going to click on the name of the person. Maybe the principal has said, oh, I need to add something to the formal observation. I need to add some comments, or I need to update the tally marks. And so all parties should be notified before you reopen a status, but I'm going to leave that up to you districts. Who gets notified when? The district administrator or anybody with reopen rights can perform these next steps. So I've gone and I've opened the plan by clicking on the person's name, and notice that it is locked. Try to stop moving my mouse a minute so you can see that. It is locked by me. The lock observation activity is at the bottom of this channel. Everything is locked. And then if I look up at each activity, I can see which activities have a lock icon. All of these activities. All right. Over here on the right, I see these little circles with the up arrows. Those are your reopen edit statuses. So these arrows reopen an activity. The lock icon unlocks activities. So notice that this activity at the top has a lock and a reopen. So it lets me click on this reopen activity, and it will tell me, once I've clicked on that reopen edit status, that the activity has been opened. But then the person comes back and says, I can't do anything in there. Well, it's because I've not come down to the bottom and unlocked the activities. So you can't individually unlock an activity. You can click on that little lock. It just turns green. It doesn't do anything. You have to come to the bottom and click the open lock here to unlock. It says you are about to unlock this activity. Are you sure you want to? Say OK, and then it'll give you a message of all the activities that it has unlocked. All right, and now you can tell your person, I've reopened and I've unlocked. You can go in there and fix everything. Now the person that is working in there, they can close that open activity, and if it's the principal, they can re-lock that lock activity when everything is done. All right. Okay, any question about that two-step process? Now, if everything's not been locked yet, then yes, you can just reopen it. But most of the time we get these requests after everything's been completed and locked up. So please make sure you remember it's 2 steps, reopen and unlock. All right. All right, so we'll pass forward 30. We're getting to number 6 in our tips today, and we're going to navigate this time over to My Staff. So any questions about staff evaluations page, before we head over to my staff. Okay. All right. Did you know that only NCEES district administrators and site administrators can view my staff? So your assistant principals, they don't see my staff, and we'll find out why in just a minute. So we're going to navigate. If you're a site admin or a district administrator in NCEES, you can navigate to My Staff, and let's compare the views of what you see if you went to staff evaluations compared to what you see in My Staff. Oh, trick-or-treat time. What kind of music do mummies love? This one y'all should get. Yay, Bonnie. Bonnie, you get the treat today. They love rap music. Very good, Bonnie. Bonnie, you get a Snickers bar. Good job. All right, so let's look. We're going to first look at what an assistant principal sees, and I just want to let admins know, because I don't know if everybody realized that your assistant principals, just on the surface, cannot see my staff. Only people that have site administrator access, and if you mainly give them site administrator access, then yes, they can see it. So let's look. So everybody comes into the system with an admin type of user, except for the head principals who have an admin type of site administrator. But everybody else is a user and can only see their own stuff until somebody sets their access rights. So at the top, you see a bar of an assistant principal, what they can see when they are still set to the user admin type. So there's no My Staff up here. He can still go to staff evaluations if he's been assigned plans and access any plans he needs to work in, but he has no My Staff here. So we're going to find out. He may have a question about what he sees here. What does he need to do? We're going to find that out in just a minute. This AP at the bottom of the screen has been manually assigned by the district administrator, site admin rights. That does not make them the evaluator of everybody. Somebody still has to give them evaluator access or observer access to staff plans before they can see staff plans here. So this person can also go to staff evaluations and see plans and work in them. So the question is, I don't see all my staff in staff evaluations. Where are they at? How do I know if the missing staff is in NCEES if all I can see is staff evaluations? Well, here's a couple of answers. Number one answer, now if you can navigate to My Staff, you can go view your staff roster and see if the person's name is listed there, and then troubleshoot from there why the person is not showing up in staff evaluations. All right, so let's do this little disclaimer. APs, peers, observers, mentors, view only with admin type of user will not see My Staff. They must contact a principal with an admin type of site admin or a NCEES lead with an admin type of district administrator to check the staff roster, because you want to know, is that person even in NCEES? And then the next answer is, well, maybe they are in NCEES. We're going to find that out. But staff evaluations only shows who started their plans. And there's a little note about that. Principal plans are system assigned. NCEES assigns those to everybody that has a principal budget code. And those plans automatically show started in staff evaluation. This allows the NCEES district administrator to set those evaluators on the Access tab to the principal plans. All other plans, your staff must start that first activity in the PDP and in the evaluation for you to then see the plan in staff evaluations. Any questions about that? All right, Bonnie said yay. All right, question, can I view my staff's evaluation start status in My Staff? So yes, so maybe we've navigated, we found somebody to navigate over to My Staff, We see the person is in the roster here under staff details, but we don't know if they've started their plan or not. We can see that there are plan types set. Here's a principal plan that was set by the system. Here's a teacher comprehensive plan that somebody manually set, and they manually set the PDP. But I don't see Robert over here in staff evaluation. Well, over here on the left are 3 links that you're going to see. You'll see all staff, staff details, and evaluations. And this can help answer a quick question about have they started their plan. So you can either click on all staff or evaluations. You're going to pretty much get the same page. One thing you'll notice different from the My Staff page is that here I can search my staff. So if I don't have to scroll through 20 pages to find somebody whose last name starts with W, I can search them right here and pop them right up here on the page. Okay? Or I can add filters to get all my Smiths up here on the page, whatever you want to search for. All right, and then also you can view plan status on this page. So if you have access to a plan, you'll see these little circles with the drop-down arrow beside a person's name. And when you click the drop-down arrow, it says more options, and you're going to see their plans that they've been assigned. See if that'll go away in just a minute. All right, so here I see that for Miss Brown Coley, she has a professional development plan and a comprehensive evaluation plan. And it says edit beside those plans. Well, what does that mean? Edit means Ms. Brown Coley has started her plans. So that's good. You can actually, as an evaluator, click on that plan and open it up from here. You don't always have to go to staff evaluations to open up a plan. You can click it here to open it up. Now, we're going to look right because I wanted you to see the word start. So this sample here shows somebody that has more than one plan type populated. They've got a PDP, they've got a standard evaluation, and a comprehensive evaluation. The standard and the comprehensive both say start. So this person maybe doesn't know which plan to start. So they probably want to have a talk with them. Start means they've not started the plan. So have them, email them, talk to them, have them start the correct plan. Well, what are we going to do with this extra plan? You can have the person start that one too, but don't do anything in it, because you remember it doesn't really show up in staff evaluations until it's been started. However, use this judiciously. You can click on a plan that says start. It puts it in start status. It doesn't do the activity for the teacher or the support staff. It doesn't do their self-assessment. It doesn't do the training and orientation. It just puts it in start status. Then you can go as a district administrator back to staff evaluations and delete that extra plan. Any questions about how to do that? All right, the other thing on this page before we leave it is there's a list of emails. I've got them blurred out for confidentiality purposes, but they are links, and they will open your email program. So if you need to email one person off this page, click their email link. It will open your email program, and you can send them an email. Okay, so the other link in the middle here is called Staff Details. So on the staff details page, you're going to, again, see your list of staff. This is very similar to my staff page, but it does have the search feature, and it has a filter here where you can search for filter for name, for employee ID, or position. Position is instructional or administrative. Instructional covers both your teachers and your support staff. NCEES brings everybody in as instructional staff. That's a certified instructional staff or support staff. Support staff fall up under the definition of teacher. So that means they fall up under the definition of instructional. So please leave this, because some folks try to change the demographics and make it say support staff. Please don't do that. We pull reports based on the instructional staff or the administrative staff, and we don't pull reports for the support staff. So please leave them as instructional. If you have any questions about that, just email me. Notice here, too, that you can set your plan types on this page. Ignore HRMS ID. That was built out when the system was very first begun 5 or 6 years ago, and it was never used. So that is just as like a placeholder if they ever decide to use HRMS ID numbers. Also, here is a drop-down where you can then view the user profile. This is where you can go view their UID, their demographics, and such as that. You'll just click on it from there. So those are 3 quick, handy areas that you can do some additional quick work with your teachers and support staff and principals. All right, reports to run now. What reports are best? So let's take a look. This is for site admins and NCEES district administrators. You can navigate to reporting. Trick or treat. Who helps the little pumpkins cross the road? It's a little bit harder. Let's see. The crossing guard. If you guess that, you get some gummy worms. So let's get reading bookworms. Those look delicious. Not. I do not like those sour worms. Ooh. My grandchildren love those things. So let's look at the questions that we're asking ourselves. What kind of reports do we want to run right now? Admins, you can run these reports. We're actually going to go to reporting. And then at the very top is reports again. And you're going to select the quick reports module. And then any of the reports. So ignore this here because there's going to be more than this report. So we're going to be in the quick reports module. And here's our questions. Are our staff completing plan activities per our suggested calendar due dates? What can I run? Do we have staff who are active in more than one district? You technically do not want to have staff that are active in more than one district because that other district's school name is on your plan type that you're working on with that district. And NCEES, if that other district finally decides to inactivate them, it doesn't always know that that plan belongs to you and not the other district. So it could deactivate the plan when the other district gets around to inactivating that staff. So run this report as often as you can. You decide in your district if you want to be the one to contact the other district to inactivate their staff. Maybe it's your staff that need to be inactivated. So dig into that report carefully because that might be your payroll that needs to inactivate the staff so that the staff doesn't show up in more than one district. And we're going to look at what report that is in just a minute. The next question is, are all our mentor relationships assigned? And then how about observations? Are they following the guidance for start and end times? And are the orientation dates for your teachers falling within those first 10 days of the school hire date? It really should, or you should redo that observation. And then, do PDPs of beginning teachers have mentor signatures? Very important. And have I assigned all the peer observer relationships? And then how many pre and post conferences are signed by the evaluator instead of the teacher? Now, we did put a fix in last year so that those post conferences now cannot be signed by the evaluator by mistake. But those pre-conferences, those can still be signed by the evaluator by mistake. They're sitting with the teacher in their office. They've done the conference. They slide their computer over and tell the teacher, here, sign off on this. Well, that's going to put their signature, not the teacher's signature, because they're the ones logged in. And then, do my staff have more than one active evaluation, which we saw previously under that link. So that way you can help clean up any extra evaluations, because you don't want all of those extra evaluations archived at the end of the year. So here's the reports that you can run. the evaluation completion exception report, the activity lock, and there's an activity lock report. There's individuals who belong to sites in more than one district report. You have your mentor relationship report, an observation start and end time report, your orientation dates report, the PDP mentor signature dates report, your peer observer relationships report, and you have post-conferences signed by the evaluator, not the teacher report. This also picks up those pre-conferences. And then users with more than one active evaluation report. That's going to help you clean up what's out there. So let's look at one of those reports because we're getting toward our end of time here. So this is where we're going to look at the exception report. And this is under quick reports, and it's called Evaluation Completion Exception Report. And now new this year, they don't have dates beside the reports anymore. Now you can click on the ones that say select year, which Evaluation Completion Exception Report is one of those. You're going to click next, and then you're going to select the year, and then you're going to click next, and then you're going to click done. And it's going to run your report for you. So I borrowed this from Buncombe County. They suggest to run this in November, January, March, and May. And it's going to give you what you're going to see on the next page, that you can also export as a PDF with the Adobe PDF icon on that page. And you can download it as a TSV or a CSV. It's going to show you the completion status of observations 1, 2, 3 in peer and the summary evaluation conference. And this is what it looks like. I've redacted some information we shouldn't see, but here it's going to show you the school, the names, the role of the person. So it's not just teachers it's running for. Here's a leadership specialist, here's a social worker and a school counselor. It's going to give you their IDs and then their plan types. So it's going to run for all the plan types. And then where they're at. Have they completed this activity? Have they not started this activity? Is it in progress? It'll list all of that. Okay. And if it's not required, it won't return anything because there's nothing to return on, I think this is a standard evaluation and abbreviated here. It's not returning peers because they're not required. Okay. All right. All right, any questions about what reports to run? You have just a few minutes left. All right, we're going to look quickly at professional development and using those staff dashboards. I do have a webinar coming up later this fall or winter that we're going to really dig into staff dashboards and staff groups. So watch for that webinar coming up. So here, the site admin can do this. District administrators that are NCEES district administrators can go to staff dashboards. You're going to navigate to system administration. Once you click system administration, you're going to look at the top of the page and look for staff dashboards. Once you open up the dashboard, you're going to search, oh, another trick or treat time. I believe this is the last one. Where do baby ghosts go during the day? They go to the day scare center. Oh, and we get a lollipop this time. That looks good. All right, so maybe you're working with PD in your district and you want to know who's completed what PD course. Maybe you've required a certain group of people to take a mentor course in NCEES, and it's course number 35. How can we tell if our people have registered for it or not registered for it or completed it? So we've gone to our staff dashboard. There was system administration, and over here at the top we're going to click on staff dashboards. It's going to open my staff dashboard, and I have several ways to load up a group of staff. I can browse staff by site, and it's only going to give me my district that I have access to, but I can narrow that down and only run it for my elementary schools or my high schools. You can just click in there and play with the settings, because right beside here will populate a list of staff. depending on what you check. Or you can browse by demographics. Maybe I just want all of my administrators or all my instructor level staff. Or I can also search by role in here, so I can load up all my counselors by just drilling down and checking the correct box. I can search staff individually, and there's a lot of parameters in here. If I just need one staff, I can just put in their first and last name, search, and then they'll populate over, and then I can run the reports that you're going to see on the next slide. Or maybe I've saved a staff group. Maybe I have a staff group of those people that were supposed to take the mentor courses. So I can load up that staff group. All right, so once I've loaded up the group, there's an evaluation completion reporting report. And so that's system administration, staff dashboards, search your staff. Once they load up, you can click on the first staff, and over to the right is going to be some tabs. And I'm sorry, I'll add that graphic in here. I think I've missed it. But there's a little tab that says course completion reporting. So you're going to open that, and down at the bottom you're going to see these buttons, summary and details. So you can run a summary report of who has completed. I put in course 35. So course 35, if you just only want to find just plain course 35, you have to put parens around the number. So you're going to have parens, 35 parens, and then click summary, and then it will come up. But see here, I put in 35, and it's returning all my courses that have the number 35 in it. And since I'm working with the group of people, I have 55 people I'm working with, it's going to give me a percentage of who has done each of these sections. So who's not registered, who's registered, and who's complete. So nobody has registered for 10035, 100% not registered. I have a small number here registered for 10135. Yep, and then you so on. So the rest of these, nobody is registered for. What if I want details? And I didn't pull this because it has PII information in it, but I did put the bar of the fields that you're going to see in that. You're going to have the status, the registered, complete, or not registered, the office where the course was billed out in, the course number, the course, the sites of the staff, the demographics of the staff, staff's email, their ID, and their first and last name. All right, and I'm sorry I didn't have that slide in there. I'll get that added real quick when we end up here. So any questions about the tips and tricks for today? Did you have any questions about something you'd like to see that you can quickly do? So a well-educated mind will always have more questions than answers. Helen Keller. I used to read all about Helen Keller growing up. I was just amazed. So do you have any questions now? While you're thinking about those, we're going to look at some resources. Here's a link to our NCEES information and resources page. I'll put that in the chat. And then I want to thank you for attending today. While we review the resources, I'm going to go ahead and give you your feedback link. This is our feedback survey that must be completed if you want that certificate. We always appreciate any input you can give us. If you've enjoyed the webinar, if you did not enjoy it, we learn from any kind of comments that you want to give us. We appreciate you joining us today. And so there's the link to the feedback survey. Just when you complete the survey, there'll be a little section where it has a drop down where you'll select today's session. All right, so here's our resources. The bit.ly for our NCEES page. There is a new page on here. Just wanted to show you real quick. I'll let that load up. It's being slow. I'll come back to it. There's a COVID page out there that I really want you guys to go check out if you've not heard about it yet. Right here. All right, so we're still in blended learning and remote learning, and how are you going to do those remote observations? Please come out here and watch this recorded presentation from Dr. Robert Sachs at DI and Educator Support, and then plenty of support documents for and resources for any questions that you have about completing evaluations this year when we're in remote and blended learning. And it is just about 5 o'clock, so I'll click real quick. We have webinars coming up in October. Next week, Kim is going to do cultural leadership for principals, so please join us for that. And then you'll see November's and December's. And here's our contact information. Each one of these names is a link to our email. Oh, and then I've just listed a bunch of other trick-or-treat questions that you can share with your students if you're a teacher down at the end of the slides. So we'll go back one slide. And I'll go back to that feedback link. And Kim, do you see any other questions coming in?
No, none at this time.
All right, it is 5 o'clock. So I think we're going to go ahead and stop recording. I appreciate you joining today. I hope you learned some new things today. Please let us know in the survey. And I want to wish you all a good evening. And thank you, Kim, for joining today and monitoring the questions. And thank you all for joining today. You have a good evening.
It's a great webinar, Tammy.
Thank you. Bye, y'all.